Hello, my name is Scott Anderson, and I'm the author of The Quiet Americans, to be published by Doubleday this September. It is a privilege to be able to address you on this Library Journal platform. I grew up in East Asia in the 1960s, and I've always felt that one of the best things about my childhood was I never saw television. Instead, my window on the world was books. In each of the countries where we lived, my favorite places were the English language libraries, usually quite small, where I devoured books. My love for libraries continues today. To escape the confines of my home office and an extremely demanding young daughter, I frequently take refuge at the local library, both to do research and to write. Libraries are one of the things I miss most as this quarantine extends. Another thing that my childhood instilled in me was an intense fascination with the Cold War. Each of the countries I lived in, Korea, Taiwan, and Indonesia, were so-called frontline states in the battle against international communism. The entrance to my elementary school in Taiwan was dominated by a permanently manned anti-aircraft gun, and I grew up both fearful and thrilled by the idea that an attack by the Red Chinese might come at any minute. As a result, I've always wanted to write about the Cold War, and specifically of its crucial early days, that period between the end of World War II and the mid-1950s, when so much of the waste and the tragedy that was to come was set into motion. The challenge I long grappled with was how best to tell that story at an intimate ground level. In my last book, Lawrence in Arabia, I focused on a small group of intelligence officers operating in the Middle East during World War I, and who had an outsized influence on the creation of the modern Middle East. In contemplating who best to tell the story of the early Cold War from an eyewitness point of view, I ultimately came to the same answer I'd found with Lawrence: spies. In the absence of a shooting war, it was the spies of both sides who propelled events in the Cold War, who engaged in a cat-and-mouse battle with the enemy. At its heart, The Quiet Americans is a story of 4 CIA agents who, in various roles and from various corners of the world, served on the front lines of the early Cold War. They devised clandestine strategies to battle the Soviets. They oversaw infiltration operations behind the Iron Curtain. They ran networks of spies and defectors to stay one step ahead of the enemy. My book is the story of those 4 men, but I hope it also casts a light on the greater battle in which they were engaged, the effects of which remain with us today. I do hope you like The Quiet Americans, and I thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit about it.